Welcome to KQEG and Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and fitness. It's a rare opportunity for me to be able to sit down with an icon. 50 years of coaching, teaching in the La Crosse area. Our guest today on this very special show, Coach Corey DeGaetano. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it.
As we tape the show here on October 3rd, on the heels of a big win over the Logan Rangers in a game we broadcast here on KQEG. A big win because a lot of people perhaps have never been a part of the ARC game. And 3 years in a row now, the ARC parked at Central High School. Let's go back real quickly. We're going to talk about a lot of things here today on this special show. Let's go back really quickly and look at some of the important ARC games, Logan versus Central, that you've been a part of.
Well, let me just say this. When I first came to Central back in 1970, I met with the athletic director at that time, Babe Wygant, and he called me into his office, and I still don't think he knew my name even after he left the school and heard my name mentioned several times. He used to call me either Kid or Dago. So he called me in his office. He said, "Hey, Dago, get in here one time." And he says, "I just want you to know one thing, son." He says, "When we play Aquinas and Logan, those are the only two games we're concerned about. If we win the conference, it's a special thing." So he kind of brought that into my mind right away, that if you can't walk in the city, then you might as well not even be in the city. So
one of the special things in La Crosse has been all three teams, and of course playing Aquinas and Central. And in a rare three teams in one city that play against each other. Now with Aquinas gone, what's your thought on that in the intercity series?
Well, you know, that intercity series was the biggest thing. I think it was the longest running series in the state as far as parochial and private schools playing each other. I'm going to miss playing Aquinas. I know their numbers and size are a detriment to them, but I do miss that. But Joe Barron, my athletic director, asked me to look at, you know, he knew I was approaching my 50 years, and asked me to look back and see what the series had been. So I did look back, and right now the series stands at 28 to 24 us over Logan, and 25 to 24 over Aquinas. So over my 50 years of doing this, it's dead even.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's revealing, and I'm sure our viewers are like, wow, that's a good piece of information. An important game, as we talked about at UWL against Logan. But a lot of, maybe the viewers don't know the fact that on the afternoon of that game, a week ago on Friday, Tony Service, the head coach's dad, passed away.
That is correct.
And Tony's a friend of mine. I knew that his dad was struggling. And yet you all rallied around. I could see a little bit of the emotions on the sideline after the game. How hard was that?
It's always difficult when you know a member of your family, so-called our athletic family, loses a person or is just struggling with difficulty and things of that nature. When Coach came back from the hospital, Dad was still alive, and then we sat down on a bleacher because we had to take some pictures and stuff for the yearbook and things of that nature. So me and him just kind of talked about it a little bit, and we were both kind of emotional. And you know, I said, "Hey, Coach, you got to cry it out, cry it out. This is a place to do it. Doesn't make you less a man because you're dropping some tears." But he didn't let our team know until after the game, and I think the other coaches let our team know. But he didn't want the team to know because he didn't really want the team to rally around that situation for a coach. But us coaches kind of really, you know, we felt you know, hopefully we could do something for him as far as the game situation was concerned, and relieve his mind as much as we could about his situation at home. So
he's a good friend of mine, and my heart goes out to him, and I'm sure our viewers feel the same way. And you've had so many successes. You've had setbacks like all of us. And your wife passed away on December 3rd of 2010 after you were married for 39 years. And a lot of your friends and family and my wife and I were there for that funeral. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. You know, and just like you say, when your friends are around you and you got family, and my family, my kids are really supportive of me, and all my friends you know, they got something going, they invite me to various activities and so forth. So I'm doing okay. You know, it's a big void, but it is what it is. You know, and,
Well,
we all go on. I mean,
she was a big part of your life, though. I mean, you know, you talk about cheerleaders and people that really are behind you and encourage and so on, and all your years of coaching, teaching, raising kids, and being an icon in the community. She was always there.
She was always there, and the thing is, she always let me do what I wanted to do. And coaching was a big factor, and we talked about it a little bit before we got married and so on, and she didn't seem to think that was going to be a problem. And she's her family is into the arts, you know, the musicals and choirs and things of that nature. But when the kids started to participate, she took full boat. And of course, when my kids, they participated on Alaska, as you know, so it was she was always there for them. She wasn't so there for me too much after that.
Well, there's a similarity
about that.
There's a similarity between you and I. Not that I've accomplished anything close to you. The similarity simply is this. I have a wife that's exactly the way your wife was, and letting me do what I want to do, and being a rock behind the scenes.
That's the true thing, boy. You know, I mean, I can't say enough about it. And when she was, you know, suffering with cancer, I started to deal with some of the things that she had to do, and I just couldn't understand how she could do it, because she was fantastic. I mean, not only taking care of our house and the kids and working and doing everything. I mean, so when I started to do that, I was just amazed at how strong a woman she was.
There you go. I think we would all agree with that. Going back to football, you have a big game this week, Sparta, and then you close the season on Alaska West Salem and on to the playoffs, and we'll be covering a game yet the end of the season and perhaps into the postseason. Good year for the Central Red Raiders.
Well, it is a good year. We're not in the playoffs yet, though. We got to win at least two of the three. So if it all be willing, we win all three, it'd be great. But we got some difficult road here with, especially with Sparta now. We don't worry too much about the other two. We know Wisniewski's a great quarterback. Got a full ride to North Dakota State. I wish him the best of luck. He's a class kid. That staff over there at Sparta are a bunch of class people. I can't. Anybody I compete against, I really respect, and we're going to have our hands full. We look at it this way: it's Wisniewski against Davis, and that's probably an even till there. So it's the other 10 guys against their other 10.
Well, actually, yeah, I'm going to do an ESPN spot on it tomorrow, and I absolutely agree with you. But a lot of people talk about Davis, and he's got tremendous gifts, skills, and I admire that. But Wisniewski he's not too far behind, if at all.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he is behind at all.
Oh my goodness, he's got skills. It's going to be a test of the two defensive units.
That's about right.
So
exactly right.
And you're part of the defensive unit.
Yeah,
How are you going to handle him?
Bring that up, huh? Okay, thanks a lot.
That might be a challenge for your defensive line.
It's always a challenge.
Yeah. But, you know, you worked for a lot of great coaches, and you worked for a lot of great administrators, and I went down and looked at those as I researched for this interview, and we're good friends, and I know all of the people that are on the list, starting with Dick Hackett, who was he coached, he was your AD, he was a super guy and a close friend of mine.
He definitely is a super guy, and I'm going to tell you this, he was a guy that would be there for you all the time. I mean, when I was coaching track, we'd leave 5:30 in the morning and not getting back at 10 o'clock, and he was there to see us off and there to greet us when we came back, and was concerned about how we did and how the kids were and all that kind of thing. So he basically like a brother to me is what it amounted to.
He was a close friend of mine too. And then you worked for Glenn Wilt.
Glenn Wilt, well, Glenn is a super guy, and you know, he was my boss and mentor at Central, and Glenn would always, I actually didn't work for him, but I was in the junior high at that time, but he would let me come over for 2 weeks, me and Dave Rudolph, and work with the team, and we had our say with whatever we did, and we were both line coaches, so we kind of did our thing there, and he always backed me. And then when I got over to Central to teach, he was there for me all the time.
I know
He was a super guy.
I coached his son. I coached Dick's son's close friend. And before we take a break, those two gentlemen have passed away, and the other guy who I loved was at Aquinas and then at Central, Marv Sammartano.
Well, Marv Sammartano, there's again another situation. You know, he's got Sammartano and I'm a Degatano, so we had the Tanos on the end. And when we got the coach for him, it was an exciting moment. And I had the pleasure, he picked me to coach in the Shrine Game back in 1980. And that was truly a great experience for me.
I'm sure it was, yeah. I miss all three of those guys. Well, we're going to continue with that list and go through a lot of other things in the second half of the show. We're going to step aside just for a minute and we come back more here on Seven Rivers Sports.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install Carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. This is a special show here this week as we celebrate 50 years of coaching with Coach Degatano, our guest here on the set. We talked about some of the coaches you were involved with in the past, and then to continue that list, Cliff Vane was a big part of you as a staff member, teaching PE with him at Central and also coaching for the Central Red Raiders.
Yeah, I got to coach Cliff's son in the middle school, and we got along pretty good with that class. It was his 8th grade class was really a good class, and of course then when Cliff would come over by for parent conference and stuff, we met and so on. And when he took over the job in 1970, he asked me if I'd coach at Central High School, and of course I was still in the junior high teaching, but that was the start of this 50-year deal. So Cliff is really the gentleman that brought me over there. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed him too. I knew, you were talking about David. I knew David Vane pretty well. He was a great athlete. Cliff is still alive and lives out west. And then came Tony Krasnovich, who did a great job.
Well, you know, Tony, he was under me a couple years at the UWL here when we were over there, and we got to know each other pretty good through that stuff. And of course, you know the story about him and Greg Madison and Dewey Stendhal, they all got picked up by the Washington Redskins and so on, so they had tryouts with those people. So when he came and he took over, he really taught me how to watch film. He was so used to watching it with those people that he could break down a film. He could tell just by looking on the film if the kid if they were going to run the ball or pass the ball by just looking at the kid's knuckles. So,
yeah.
You know, you learn something from everybody.
Actually, I knew how much he studied film, and he's still around, and I see him occasionally. And then, of course, Coach A, who is a good friend. I see him quite a bit at UWL, still coaching under Mike Schmidt. You coached with him for a while.
Yes, I did. I coached with him for 8 years, and he's the only guy that fired me 14 times and got hired back to 15 times. So I was kind of happy with that. But Coach A was a very volatile coach. We had some good times together. I remember a couple incidents where we had city games, and he would jack the team up by bringing his hunk of beef with him to the medium, because we were, back in those days, if you won the city, the Eagles would sponsor a nice roast beef deal, and they'd bring in a packer to speak. So he wanted us to take off, and he brought that meat out and just squeezed that meat, and then blood was running down his hand, and when he slapped it against the wall, our players busted out of there, and before you know it, we were down 21 points. So
actually, I remember those days.
That's open motivation.
Coach A fired you numerous times. Of course, legendary coaches like Lou Holtz and Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes would fire their staff probably on a daily basis, and then hire him back the next morning to be there around 5 for meetings and so on. So I know what that's like. Dave Kaler, too, did a nice job at Central.
Yes, he did. He was there for 17 years, and yeah, I think he's the longest-serving football coach at Central. I think he beat Babe by a year or two, and you know, I coached the defense. I was a coordinator for him during that time, and I tell you what, he really let you coach. I mean, he didn't say too much about it. He was a defensive back coach for us when Coach A was the coach, but when he took over, he let me continue doing what I was doing, and just a heck of a classy guy and just a quality person.
I agree. I know his family real well, and one thing I liked about him is he delegated and he let you coach, and now, of course, same guy, same strategy, same approach, and that's Tony Service, a good friend, been on the show many times, and I like his style.
Yeah, he's another person that, I mean, I've coached for just quality people all the time. Tony played for us back in the day, and then he left to go to Wisconsin to become a accountant or some activity like that. Then decided to come back, and he came over and he started to student coach with us for a while till he got his degree, and then he got hired at Central course in math, and he took when Kaler became the head coach. He was the defensive back coach, and you know, when I was coordinator, I didn't monkey around too much with the defensive backs. I let those guys coach those people, and he's another quality person. And
he is.
I don't know. I think he's about ready to let me say goodbye.
Well, again, our guest today, Tony DeGaetano, who's celebrating 50 years of coaching at Central. Big party. Just supposedly it's supposed to not be a secret, but it's gonna not now because the party is after the Onalaska game on October 11th. At the Eagles Nest, and it'll be celebrating Coach D. Now, why are we celebrating? Well, Joe Barron sent me this. 2,500 practices, 259 wins, 217 losses, 2 ties, 37 playoff games, 51 shutouts. Here's what, I'm going to read you some quotes quickly. Here's what Joe Barron says about Coach D. To me, he was somebody I look up to, I admire. His dedication is remarkable, has been supportive of my family, is an icon, and that's why the field is named after him, the Corey DeGaetano Field right behind Central High School.
Well, Mr. Barron, he took over for Mr. Hackett, and I don't know exactly how many years it's been now, but I tell you what, he's been a quality person to me. He's always showed me respect, and I have the same feelings for him as well.
Tony DeGaetano, your son, worked for me for a long time. I love the guy. Still talk to him quite a bit. He's coaching at Onalaska, a grandson that I'm sure you worship too. Tony DeGaetano said, my dad meant more to me than anybody can ever realize. Even though I played at Onalaska, he's a great teacher, a great friend, and a great father.
Yeah, it's pretty nice coming from your son. It's a special moment, and you know, we'll have another special moment here next week when we play them at Memorial Field. So he's just a quality kid, and
he is.
I'm sure his mother had a heck of a lot to do with that, more than I did. But
well, I mean, I could see that when he worked for us, and that's why we hired him. You have 2 daughters. Jackie said, my mom and dad were our biggest cheerleaders, either physically or just quick messages before the game. My father, as a head of the family, taught me many things, and it has been amazing. Dad, a grandfather, to all the kids, and we know we can always count on him. That is daughter Jackie.
Well, you know, she's the first one in the family, so I tell you what, when Mom passed away here, she's kind of been my rock, and I can kind of count on her and talk to her when I need somebody to talk to. Not that I can't talk to the other kids, but she's kind of the staple that holds me together.
And your daughter, Katie, I know all 3 of the kids, of course, and even though we love sharing my dad with Central athletes, we were always proud of his coaching accomplishments. I remember Dad giving up coaching, track and field. He gave up coaching so he could watch my track meets and baseball for my brother. He was always there. He means the world to me, and that's her thought on her dad.
And she's another special kid, you know. I mean, when you got 3 kids like that are supportive of you, and I respect them 100-fold because you know, they basically have stayed in athletics. My son is a recreation director in West Salem, and Kate now for 18 years, I think, is the athletic trainer at St. Xavier University in Chicago, and she's done just a great job. She's doing some teaching now in the classroom and so on. So they're just quality kids.
Eric Wench, a friend of mine who coaches Western Technical College men's basketball, is Coach Central, says Coach D may be gruff on the exterior, but on the inside he's a caring, gentle person.
I always, you know, and he's got me down pat. I mean, he knows I try to fake that toughness because, you know, I think if you kind of put a little fear in the players' hearts a little bit, there's nothing wrong with that because you can always show them the love, and which I do.
In the coach service, your boss now as head coach of Central, there should be a book written about Coach D. His contributions, his stories as a player. I remember him telling me things I didn't really want to hear, but I know they were to the made me smile, laugh, and I needed to be scolded once in a while. He understands kids. As a coach, I've learned a great deal from them. Important part of our team. He treats everyone with respect.
And I have that same respect for him because when he played for us, he was one of our defensive backs, and he took care of everybody on the field. If they didn't line up properly, he would line them up, and I really have to thank his mom and dad because I remember one time at home and there we didn't have any place to go in the stands, so we had to kind of go behind the stands, and he was kind of the player that took the wrath from me.
And Coach Anderson, simply the best. Tough as nails, but fair with us, with all the athletes. Great to be around, to have fun, had a sense of humor, of sarcasm, but a strong competitor.
Well, he's got me down pat, doesn't he?
He sure does.
Coach Ace got me.
I thought he was talking about me, too.
Coach Ace got me down to a T. It was fun coaching for all those guys. I mean, we did have fun. I mean, sure, we took some beatings, but we had a heck of a lot of fun in more ways than one.
As we close this interview, throughout all those years, and it'll be 50 at the end of this season, what has kept you going?
Well, you know, I think it's the kids. I mean, I really enjoy being around kids. I mean, when I started teaching, that was a big thing to me. I started in Lee Elementary in Milwaukee, an inner city school, and I just loved the kids. I mean, if I could have coached there, if I had, you know, because back in those days you had to be in a high school to coach, and if I could have coached there, I'd have stayed there probably. But that didn't happen for me. But I really like kids, and even now the kids, it's fun being around them.
And they feel the same way about you. A couple last questions. You're riding into the sunset. It's been a tremendous ride. Your coaching your coaching career ends at the end of this football season. Are you comfortable riding into the sunset?
I'm not sure yet. It'll probably won't hit me till next fall, and then I don't know what I'll do. I got some ideas, but
Are you sure you're done coaching?
I'm not really sure, but 99 point. I'm done at Central. I'm done at Central, but
There's still some gas in the tank?
there's a little gas. It's I don't know if it's a couple drops maybe, but we'll see what happens when that comes. But
Well, and again, a big event celebrating Corey Degatano's 50 years of coaching will be held on October 11th after the Onalaska game. Boy, what a game that will be. Oh, my goodness. Because they are tremendously talented, too. We've covered them at the Eagles, and that's right after the game. And I hope they can get enough, there's enough room for people there because it'll be sold out. There's no question about it. But it's been my pleasure, and I wanted to do this knowing that this was your last year, and you're a good friend, and it's just a treat for me to have you as our guest.
I really appreciate it, Terry. You've been good to me all these years. You really have. And I enjoy talking to you, and I talk in sports and talking family and whatever.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for you. So anyway, good luck, and maybe we'll have you back on the show when you're coaching somewhere else. You never know. Anyway, all right, well, thanks for joining us again. Today, a special show this week, Corey Degatano, and we appreciate you staying with us. We will have some film clips and some closing thoughts right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team.
Who listens to what your needs are.
We install Carrier Comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Well, 2 games this weekend, and we were first at Empire Stadium in Holmen for a big game, MVC game, the Holmen Vikings entertaining the Logan Rangers. Well, Logan started first with an impressive drive, unveiling a new offense in the first quarter. Then, with the Rangers entering the red zone, Holmen's Dylan Westcott intercepted a pass and raced 82 yards for a Viking TD. That was followed by a Cameron Weber run and a Weber to Justin Jones pass, and 21-0 at the end of 1. The Vikings continued to dominate in the second. 2 TD passes from Weber to Isaac Elson, and a Brett Holden 56-yard run. 41-0 at half. All defense in the second half with no points on the scoreboard. Weber was 6 for 9 for 96 yards. Holden 7 rushes for 179 yards. Logan was led by quarterback Josh Waite, who threw for 81 yards. Max Harsey, 12 carries for 72 yards. Logan steps out of the conference for a game at Wisconsin Rapids on Friday, and Holmen entertains Sparta in a big MVC matchup, and we'll be there to bring you all of the action. Final from Empire Stadium, Holmen 41 and Logan 0. Our other crew on Friday was at another MVC game, the Panthers hosting the league-leading Hilltoppers from Onalaska. No scoring in quarter number 1. West Salem scored first in the second quarter, a Therick Roberts 5-yard run, 6-0 Panthers. Then Nathan Lubinsky went to work, scoring 2 TDs, 15-6 Onalaska at intermission. To open this third quarter, Aiden Larson to wide receiver Landon Peterson from 21 yards out. Larson again on a 27-yard run, 30-6 at the end of 3. Nathan Lubinsky, his third TD in the fourth to cap off the scoring. Larson 10 for 15 for 121 yards. Lubinsky 25 carries and 180 yards. West Salem was led by Therick Roberts, 17 carries for 60 yards. West Salem at Toma on Friday. Onalaska, a big game at La Crosse Central on Friday at 7 p.m. Final from West Salem, the Onalaska Hilltoppers 37, Panthers 6. Well, that's it this week on Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping you will have an active and a healthy week ahead.